All right. One of the questions that everybody asks in the database class is, why does a BA need to look at the data? See, at various stages of SDLC, in the design phase, in the gathering requirements phase, in the in the production rollout, and in the production support roles, all these stages BA gets involved, and BA needs to look at the data for let's say while gathering requirements. While gathering requirements, your requirements feasibility sometimes is directly dependent on the data. For example, let's say the functionality that the manager wants or the user wants is just as the opportunity gets sold, then the customer should get an email. So you know that this functionality it requires two things. One, you need to make that workflow. You need to write that code. Second thing is data has to be correct. If there is no email if for the various customers, then there is no use developing this functionality, right? So at that point, I might want to go into the database and see how many account records or the customer records have the email with them, right? Right? Is it right? So I cannot, so there are 2 million records, let's say there are 2 million accounts. I cannot just keep scrolling through the week. So one of the easiest ways, go through the database, get the numbers quickly. Like I can find it like this. I just make a query. Just to give you a basic idea, you will see how to make a query, but basically I'll make a query. Select all those rows, give me the number of all those rows where the email ID is null. This is a matter of 1 minute, right? So it will give you give me the total number of accounts. You don't have to scroll through the list to find out the total number. Give me the total number of accounts. Give me the total number of accounts where email ID is null. Give me the total number of emails where email ID does not contain @ or dot. So you can see the data whether data is correct or not. Now same at the same. So you cannot come out with the robbers. You cannot really gather this requirement properly. You're not analyzing this requirement properly if you haven't looked at the data, right? This requirement is pretty much unfeasible if the correct data is not there, right? So you can make a recommendation. Let's not go ahead with that because we have junk data. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time and money to go ahead with this requirement. This is one use we saw. At the time of production support, we'll be doing that a lot because you guys will be BA, you guys will be working close to the users. They might call you, hey, Hafiz, my account is not getting associated with the contact. So you know that for account and contact to work together, there could be certain other data elements that you need to check whether the foreign key is working properly, populated properly or not. So things like that. Right? They might also say, VP might also say, can you please tell me how many data out of the database are incorrect? How many data rows are incorrect? At that point, you need to go and check and say, give me all those accounts where this field is not present. So you'll get a number quickly to the database. So as you can see during production support, then while designing the reports, it comes handy. Let's say the VP says that she wants a report of all the accounts which are getting sold today, something like that. So you need to look at the status field of all the opportunities for all the accounts, right? You need to look at and see how you will basically design this report, how does this look like. If there are right, making sense to you? So while gathering requirements and while designing, this is very important for you that you look at the data once to see whether your requirement makes any sense or not. For example, right in this, I can get the numbers quite quickly. I'll show you how to get the numbers. Say I'm gonna make a query on the as opportunity table, same table. Right.
You are not with you.
Where name is null. Obviously, name is a required field, right? But I can see name is not null elsewhere, right? Right? So we got the record. It also tells me that although the name is a required field in the database, sometimes users, they do hanky-panky with the system and they force the records into the system. It tells you whether name has been by mistake entered without any name. Opportunity has been entered without any name in the database. This is what I saw.
Is it possible to do that?
They do that. They are ingenious. They're smart. They know how to do that. Especially in one of my clients, through the database, some data was coming, and so many blank rows were getting inserted in the data in the SQL database. So it was left up to BA to do this job to find out how much data is duplicate, how much data is incorrect, how much data is blank. There is nothing. There are not even required fields in the, because of the error in the migration job, in the migration, in the interface with which the data was coming in. So other thing is, in SQL, every data record has to have a position associated with it, right? Otherwise, it cannot be shown to anybody. It also has to have an organization associated with it. You will see sometimes in the database there will be orphan records. Orphan records means they will be having no position, no organization associated with it. So this is very frequent. I will not say this is sometimes it happens, but in every SQL implementation you will see those records, and they directly impact the performance. So you might as well do some analysis around that. Right? So this basically is now the design criteria now. So when you are doing the design, coming up with the design, you should think about it once, right? Let's make a few other queries like status field.
Oh, yeah. This one?
It always also helps in having only a few. See BUID. Let's see if BUID is null.
Let me try one by myself. Huh?
See, there is none which has BUID as null. One more thing. Let's say they say we want to have a requirement where this BU will get attached to this BU. This organization should also start working with us in the SQL. You need to look at their data, so you can group the data. Have you how to group the data? You can look at how many people, how many opportunities are associated with this organization within the company, and how many are associated with this organization. Or I used to look at the data because there was somebody who was entering wrong records in SQL, so I used to find out every day who is entering the wrong records. So I used to keep track of her user ID. So I used to give a report to my manager saying, this person, these are 3 people who entered 3 wrong records. This other person entered 2 wrong records. This other person entered 1 wrong record today. So you have to do this because these are all like sensitive systems, and even one single row or few rows in the database basically can be an issue. So you have to really know the database very well. Querying and all, you should be your strong point. It will develop in 6 months actually. But you do not need to know all the database and Oracle database administration, all that stuff. Just data work. You need to work on data. That's all. For example, in this flag basically determines whether the opportunity will get assigned to somebody or not. Right? Let's say somebody calls me and says, we are not getting the assignment manager to work. Assignment manager is not assigning anybody, right? So I can look at this flag. So if there is only one opportunity, I can go in the GUI. But if there are like many opportunities, then I can group them and see, how many have no as the flag, how many have yes as the flag, to really analyze data. For example, I can make a query like this. See, I'm getting that all the records have no. In one clean this thing, I got that only, all the records are no. There is no record with the yes. So see, I wish I could come out with a real life scenario because this is not real life data, right? So I cannot really give you, but we'll do something. We'll go to some company with this thing and we'll troubleshoot something, because I have to do that multiple times. Some of the guys have helped me doing that. But as you can see, finding the data is very easy. Finding the property of the data, like this data is having all n, all no, or all yes, is very easy now. If you do it in the GUI, you have to have a good eye, keep looking at millions of records, and you might be making an error.
Can we practice it like 3-4 times or something? Can we practice that?
Can we practice that?